Right, well here we are on page 2. Over on page 1, I was explaining to you how your pan flute produces a note. If you have arrived here and you haven't watched page 1, I would suggest that you just go back and watch it so that there will be some sort of continuity. The important thing when you're playing your pan flute is that you wish to produce as clean and as clear a note as possible, and you will get that by making sure that your embouchure, when you blow across the top of the flute, is maximizing your breath by it's hitting the opposite end of the tube of your flute, and in that way getting the full result of the note. I'm going to be talking about this as we go, so this is just like early news. What I wanted to show you is a little something. When you were at school, you took a soda bottle, right, and you blew it, right. Now the reason why when I blew this note that it was what it is because the distance between, let's say, the embouchure hole, I'm not quite sure if that's the right name, but the distance between the embouchure hole here and the bottom here is a certain length. I don't know, maybe 10 inches. I don't know how much, right? So you would get a note. Well, now if it was longer, the note would be lower, and if it was shorter, the note would be higher. You have this instrument called a pipe organ. A pipe organ is using the same principle. And pipe organs might have tubes, which are 32 feet tall, and you can imagine that's producing a very low note. But the principle of a pan flute and the principle of a pipe organ is the same. See, the pan flute looks like this, and the pan flute has different length tubes, and of course the tube has a stopper at the bottom. So the low tube produces the longer tube produces the lowest note, and the shorter tube produces the highest note. It's as simple as that. This is a different principle than what you might call a classical flute, which the folks play. They call them classical flutes or concert flutes or silver flutes, and this is a bamboo flute, right? Not much difference between this and what you might call a classical flute, other than the classical flute, a bamboo flute just has holes, and you have to cover them with your finger here, and to get a half note and so forth, you have to half open the hole. It's a little bit more tricky, more difficult to play than a concert flute, which has like little keys that you press, But you would get a different note on a bamboo flute or a concert flute by raising, by opening or closing the holes, because the principle works the same way. When all of these holes on this flute are shut down, right, the distance between the embouchure hole and this hole here, is long. This one here looks like if it could be about 14 or 15 inches, right? But as I open the holes, you see, when I open the holes, that effectively shortens the distance. You see? So as I open more holes, the shorter the distance is the higher the note is going to go. Yeah? See? That's how a concert flute or a bamboo flute works. Whereas with a pipe organ or a pan flute, the difference in the note is going to go on the length of the tubes. Right. Right. Now I'm going to have a little experiment here. We're going to have a little experiment here. And just try to explain as we go along and make it easy and simple, and anybody can follow. If we have our bottle here, our tube, and we blow our note, yeah. If I get some water and pour it in, what I will effectively do is shorten the distance in it between the embouchure hole and the bottom of the tube. Right? When we had a bottle, we had like from here to here, we had about 10 or 11 inches. Now that we put our water in here, we shortened it almost by half. We probably only have now about 6 inches. So therefore we should get a different note. Got it? Good. Well, look, let's try an experiment. If I tilt the bottle like that, right, and let the water come up here like that, we should get some more length between here and here. So if we have some more length, the note should lower, ain't it? Let's try it and see. Right? Oh man, wow. Okay, so I believe that effectively demonstrates the principle of the flute. By the way, when I blew this note here just now, just reminded me to I could show you something. When I blew this note just now, you know, you're going to get to find out when you're playing your flute that you want to be able to vibrato or tremolo the note, and there are two ways of causing a vibration. You know, it makes the note sound sweeter, gives your playing a little bit more, a little pizzazz, and you can cause a vibration of the note, achieve vibrato in two ways. One would be a vibrato which is made with your lips, and the other one is by shaking the instrument. You see, the note that you produce can be altered slightly by your breath and lip adjustments, and by angling the flute, as you'll going to see when we proceed here a little further. You get a little variation in the pitch of the note, and that produces is one way to kind of produce a vibrato. Another way is to produce it off the diaphragm. But anyhow, watch me, look. And if I go so with my lip, yeah, or I might move the instrument by shaking it, or I could get it off of my diaphragm. I would go. So these are all different ways. I'm going to show you this when we come around on page 3. We're going to get in there. My time is again up here, so we're going to meet over on page 3 and carry on smartly. Looking for you there in a couple of minutes' time.